Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. Today is, Monday, fun day, gun day. Unfortunately, Mike will not be here today. He is lying on a beach somewhere. Well, not somewhere, but trust me, he is having a good time, enjoying, and we'll call it an extended weekend. You know, those things he says he never actually gets, but he's having a good time, and I'm kind of jealous right now. So I'll get over it, but that's okay because I've got you guys. I've got you folks out there, so we're gonna have a good time nonetheless. But before we get started, we got to pay the bills, and that begins with, well, a shout out to our sponsors. Now, we will start with Hitman Industries. If you're looking for a rifle length barrel or a pistol length barrel or pistol length caliber barrel, you can get what you are looking for at Hitman Industries. Whether you're looking to rebarrel your old rifle or do a brand new build, go to hitmanindustries.net. That's hitmanindustries.net. Find what you're looking for. Get your barrel today. Then you've got the California Republican Assembly, the largest and fastest growing conservative grassroots organization in the state of California. Ronald Reagan once referred to CRA as the conscience of the Republican Party. Visit them at cragop.org. Once again, become a part of California's future today. Become a member of CRA. Then we've got Hog holsters. They've got inside the waistband, outside the waistband. They've got concealed carry and tactical holsters, all for you. And the best part is, if you go to hogholsters.com, you can get a discount. All you got to do is use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces. Get your hog holster today. Finally, if you're looking for any type of outdoor gear, tactical gear, whatever you're looking for in terms of outdoorsy stuff, whether it's cold weather or hot weather gear, whether it's you're looking for the big water bottles, or you're looking for helmets or hats or sunglasses or boots or backpacks, trust me, they have it at uscombatgear.com. Veteran owned and operated, great prices, phenomenal selection, and fast shipping. Check them out today. That's uscombatgear.com. All right, let's get into today's topics, and let's begin with a bit of silly news. All right, and I feel very confident referring to it as silly news because I did not know, I was not aware that the NAACP was in the travel business. Yet and still, they decided that they are going to put out a travel advisory. That's right. They put out a travel advisory, basically telling folks, don't travel to Florida. What? Hold on. Let's check this out here. Okay, it says here, according to CBS News, NAACP issues travel advisory for Florida. Says state has become hostile to Black Americans. The NAACP issued a formal travel advisory for Florida on Saturday in response to what the organization described as Ron DeSantis' aggressive attempts to erase Black history and to restrict diversity, equity, and inclusion programs in Florida schools. The civil rights organization is the latest to caution travelers against visiting Florida. The League of United Latin American Citizens and LGBTQ advocacy group Equality Florida previously issued travel advisories. Under the leadership of Governor DeSantis, the state of Florida has become hostile to Black Americans and in a direct conflict to the democratic ideals that our union was founded upon. The NAACP president, CEO Derek Johnson said, We should know that democracy will prevail because its defenders are prepared to stand up and fight. We are not backing down, and we encourage our allies to join us in the battle for the soul of our nation. Now, folks, I have absolutely no idea what it is that they are talking about here, but let me hype you to it. So there's a couple of different things here that they are referring to. The first that they are referring to has to do with the advanced placement African American or Black Studies course that was rejected by the state of Florida. Now, first, it's important for you to know that in the state of Florida, it is mandated that they teach black history, that they teach history pre-slavery, what led up to slavery, what happened during slavery, what happened after slavery, all the way up to and including the civil rights movement and beyond. All of that is required learning before you can graduate from high school in the state of Florida. So I have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. They don't want to teach black history. Here's what they don't want to teach. What they don't want to teach is queer theory as a part of black history. That's right. As a part of their black history course, they want to teach queer theory. What does queer theory have to do with black history? Let me just give you a hint. Absolutely nothing. But that's what they had in this course. They also had in this course a basically a push to and a conversation, not even a conversation. It was literally a push to end the criminal justice system, to tear down all prisons. See, when they start talking about mass incarceration, that's right. They talk about mass incarceration as if it was this big movement. Hey, tell you what we're going to do. We're going to lock up all black people. We're going to put them in prisons. That's what they're saying happened. When what actually occurred was during the 90s, in particular during the proliferation of gangs and drugs, crack cocaine to be specific. There were laws that were put in place and increased funding for law enforcement in order to stem the tide of crime, right? In particular in urban communities. And guess who were the primary victims of those crimes? Wait for it. You darn tootin', people of color. That's right. Black people were the primary victims of the crimes that were being perpetrated by the people who would eventually up winding up getting locked up in jail. Now, mind you, there were some people who were probably one-time offenders, or there were some people who were, how shall we say, crime adjacent, maybe wrong place, wrong time, hanging out with the wrong people, and got caught up and wound up having to do time in jail. I'm not going to say that I am not going to sit here and tell you that there were not instances where people who probably either shouldn't have gotten arrested or shouldn't have gone to jail, or maybe even shouldn't have gone to jail for as long as they did. I'm not going to say that didn't happen. But let's not act like there was this big, huge thing, that was set up in order to lock up black people. It was set up to lock up criminals, right? To lock up criminals who were perpetrating crime in communities against them, oftentimes, most of the time, against their own people. I'm talking about a time in which they basically, you saw crime go down for 20 years. Over a more than 20-year period, crime went down in major cities across the country. I can just say, in California, went down dramatically until we started passing policies doing the exact opposite. Decriminalizing crime, taking major crimes, calling them minor crimes, taking people who are in jail, who should be in jail, multiple time offenders, and releasing them out onto the streets, and then telling them, yeah, if you do commit another crime, we're really not going to do anything to you. So anyway, but they're just not buying into the whole mass incarceration narrative. And yet and still, to them, it's like, oh, that means they're hostile toward black folks and they don't want to teach black history. No, I'm sorry. NAACP, which was once a great organization, which once did a lot to help black people in this country, let's just say they are a shell of their former selves. And they basically take their walking papers, their walking orders from the Democratic Party. They are no longer nonpartisan. They are no longer anyway. So that's the NAACP, and that's their position when it comes to Florida. Now, mind you, by the way, let's be clear. Black students in Florida are doing better than black students in places like California or New York. Black business owners in Florida are doing better than black business owners in places like Michigan or other Democratic strongholds, or Illinois. Black home ownership is up. By every indication, everyone is doing better in Florida than anywhere else. That's the reason why they've seen such a dramatic increase in their population. Because guess what? There are jobs in Florida. right? Guess what? Kids are getting educated in Florida. Guess what? Kids aren't being indoctrinated into queer theory in Florida. They're actually learning to read, write, and do math. Funny how that works, huh? They're not being locked out of class by some bureaucrat. No, they've been actually in class learning. Anyway, the point here is that this is nothing more than a target. They're just basically going after Florida. And it's funny because the Associated Press has a whole piece out on, well, stuff is not going well in Florida. Well, no. Things are going great in Florida. People love Florida. People aren't moving out of Florida in droves. They're moving out of California. They're moving out of New York. See, that's why I don't trust like the Associated Press. I'm sorry, once again, they take their marching orders from the Democratic Party. Because like I said, if it were so bad there, why is it everyone wants to move there? And it's not just Republicans moving there. It's, once again, people who want jobs. People want their children to have a quality education. People who want to go someplace where they know that laws are going to be enforced, where they can be safe. They can live in safe neighborhoods. Save the occasional, crocodile, climbing a fence or into your backyard. But you know what I mean. Anyway. But yeah, though those folks over there at the NAACP have lost their ever-loving minds. And that then brings us to a recent poll that was done. And this has to do with the debt ceiling. Once again, debt ceiling, real simple. As of June 1st, basically the debt ceiling is America saying, or the government saying, okay, yeah, we've overspent. We need to take out another credit card. And we recognize that even Republicans recognize we've already spent the money and we got to pay the bills. But at a certain point, we can't keep just taking out more credit cards. We can't keep taking on more debt. Eventually, we've got to start to get spending under control. So Republicans in the House passed a debt ceiling bill, a bill that raises the debt ceiling, but also has some controls on spending, right? Really simple. Everything's going to be set to 2022 levels. It ain't draconian cuts. It's literally basically what we spent last year. And then increase it 1% year over year. So, yeah, we're going to have to find some places to cut, but it ain't crazy. And by the way, that's the starting point of negotiations. White House won't sit down and negotiate. Well, guess what? The voters actually want the president to sit down and negotiate. This is from Breitbart News. And Breitbart News, in case before you say, oh, well, this is left-wing or right-wing propaganda, the poll is an AP poll. And it says here, the poll asks what most closely aligns with what they believe Congress should do to address the borrowing limit as the United States nears defaulting on its exorbitant $31.3 trillion national debt. Now, if you look at this, you'll see increase the debt limit only if lawmakers include reductions on the deficit, right? And you look there, let's see, what are the numbers here? So overall, you got 63% of voters, 71% of Republicans, 58% of what? Democrats. So wait, you're telling me that a majority of Democrats, according to the Associated Press, want them to limit spending. I'm telling you folks, right now, this is a winning issue for Republicans. This is a winning issue for Republicans. And the only thing I wish that they would continue to do is to say, we've passed a spending bill, a bill that increases the debt limit. And it has limits on spend, some limits on spending. It begins to limit spending. That's what they need to be focused on. That's what they need to be saying. When they say, well, Republicans won't negotiate. No, we've already passed a bill. Ask the Senate why they won't. If there's going to be a lockdown, if there's going to be a shutdown, if there's going to be if we're going to go past if there's going to be a default, that's the one. If there's going to be a default, it's going to be because Senate Democrats and the president refuse to do anything, refuse to pass anything. That's why it is in fact going to happen. I don't know what to tell you folks, but that's exactly what's going to happen. And anyway, it's going to take when the mainstream media accurately starts reporting on it. Because the funny part about this is I didn't see anything about this poll on Associated Press today. Absolutely nothing. I'm wondering why. Because this is not what Associated Press is interested in. This is not what the AP is interested in. Their goal is to try and point fingers at Republicans. They want to make Republicans look like the bad guys. And it doesn't look like it is working. Or it doesn't look like it's going to work. So maybe, just maybe, the president's going to have to sit down and actually negotiate with the 9 days that we have left. With the 9 days? Yeah, 9 days, with the 9 days that we have left. But, chances of him actually taking the time to sit down and do that, who knows? Moving right along. Gun confiscation signed into law in Michigan. All right, so when I say gun confiscation, I'm specifically speaking about red flag laws. That's right. There was a law that was recently passed right there in Michigan that is basically going to put in place what they call red flag orders. Now, for those of you who do not know what a red flag law is, it's basically, how do I want to put it? It's basically someone you may or may not know. In this case, they do restrict it to law enforcement, a employer or current employer, someone you're currently dating or someone you used to date, can go to court, get the judge to deem you to be a danger to yourself or others. The judge then issues a gun violence restraining order, or in this case, an extreme risk protection order, which means you lose your right to keep and bear arms. And oftentimes, they also then send law enforcement to your home to confiscate your firearm. That's why I call it gun confiscation, because that is exactly what it is. Keep in mind, oh, by the way, I almost forgot, you don't know anything about this. You didn't get any notice about the hearing. You didn't get a chance to go defend yourself. You didn't get a chance to say, hey, this person is whacked out. This person is crazy. This person hates me. And here's the reasons why. And here's the evidence. You don't get to do any of that before the police are sent to your home to confiscate your guns. Now, eventually you do get to go to court. Now, mind you, they don't tell you what you have to do when you get to court. They don't tell you what your rights are. They don't tell you, well, how exactly do I determine or prove that I am not a danger to myself or others? Because keep in mind, you are now guilty until proven innocent. You've lost your rights. You've lost your property. I almost forgot. By the way, this is a civil matter, not a criminal matter. So you are not guaranteed, you do not get an attorney. You can go pay for one if you can afford it, but you don't get an attorney even though you've lost your rights. Now, with that, you go to court. Some cases, you may not even get a right chance to face your accuser, and then you've got to prove that you are not a danger to yourself or others. That is what is now in place in Michigan. The same thing currently exists now in California, except they've expanded it to coworkers or even just people who work at the same company. So, for example, if you work for the University of California at Davis, and someone from the University of California at Santa Barbara, because you both work for the University of California, they say they can prove that they go to a judge and get the judge to declare you a danger to yourself or others. They can have your guns taken away. Yeah. And because the problem is that they keep wanting to expand. The only measure as to whether or not these laws are successful is how many guns they have confiscated. It's not, well, how many mass or how many mass casualty events involving firearms have they stopped? Because the number of those keeps going up. It's not how many shootings have you stopped, because those keep going up. Even though they've expanded the number of laws, even though they're confiscating more and more guns in California via these laws. Oh, by the way, I almost forgot. Even if you go to court and deem you should have never lost your firearms, should have never lost your right to keep and bear arms, yeah, there's no guarantee you get your guns back. California, we determine 80% of the time, people who went to court were determined that they were not a danger to themselves or others, got their rights back. 80% of the time didn't get their guns back. Just so you know. That's what Michigan has to look forward to. But hey, you know what? We actually have a Supreme Court where some of that stuff's going to get challenged. All right, this last one is, it's an interesting one that does not surprise me. Jeffrey Epstein. This is according to The Guardian. So once again, this is not a conservative newspaper. Jeffrey Epstein allegedly tried to extort Bill Gates over an extramarital affair. I guess they think this one's okay to report on because it doesn't have anything to do with children. Let's see. Convicted sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein, child sex trafficker, let's be clear. The convicted child sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein appeared to threaten Bill Gates and tried to blackmail the multi-billionaire over his extramarital affair with Russian bridge player, according to a new report published by the Wall Street Journal. Speaking to the Journal, sources familiar with the matter said that after Epstein found out about the Microsoft co-founder's affair with Russian bridge player Mila Antonova, he threatened Gates into reimbursing him for the tuition costs that Epstein had initially covered for Antonova to attend a software coding school. Epstein's threat to Gates came in the form of an email he sent in 2017 after he failed to convince Gates to join a multi-billion-dollar charity fund he attempted to set up, according to sources. Gates met with Antonova in about 2010 when she was in her 20s and went on to play bridge with her. In a 2010 YouTube video, Antonova recounted the tournament where she played with Gates, saying, "I didn't beat him, but I tried to kick him with my leg." I don't know exactly what was going on with that, but what I want to know is, now, if he's going to try and blackmail Bill Gates, I'm wondering who else he has stuff on. I'm still wondering why Jeffrey Epstein's flight manifests, why his guest lists still are not available, why we still don't know who visited Epstein Island. We know the list out there. In fact, we know the person who kept the list. She's in jail right now. Why isn't that list out there? Why isn't that list now public knowledge? I'll tell you why. Because there are some very, very powerful people whose names are on that list. And they don't want their names to get out. Know what I mean? Yeah, of course you do. All right, moving right along. Let's see, what do we have? Oh, well, it's about that time, is it not? Is it? Yes, it is. It's about that time. It is time for our parting shots. Our parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just visit hogholsters.com. Use discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces. Get your Hog Holster today. This first one, well, let's just say if you're looking for a place for your father or your grandfather to retire, they can go to the same place that Hunter Biden sent his grandfather to retire.
Do you worry about your mom or dad living all alone? I know I did, and that's why we started A Place for Dad, a senior living facility like no other.
Yeah, I was worried about my dad all the time, and with my career, I just didn't know who was gonna take care of him. Sometimes I'd have to go to an art show at the last minute, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Then I found A Place for Dad. Sometimes I'm up 4 or 5 days in a row. I can't be watching out for my dad. It made me nervous. A Place for Dad is awesome. I'm a busy guy. I have a lifestyle that requires I stay up a lot. At A Place for Dad, he gets to go on field trips. Look how much he loves that ice cream. Look how happy he is. He participates in Easter egg hunts. Sometimes he gives speeches, and every once in a while, a press conference. Use promo code BIGGUY and you'll save 10%. A Place for Dad was a big problem solver. He's so happy. A place for Dad. They saved my butt more than the FBI.
Gotta love that. Gotta love that. Sad but true. Sad but true. Okay. Moving right along. By the way, for those of you who have been following the whole Dylan Mulvaney thing and Bud Light, well, let's just say things aren't looking too good for Bud Light. Here we have the the newscaster. Oh God, why can I not remember the name of this movie? Anyway, the weather guy. Anyway, never mind. The Anchorman. That's it, from the movie Anchorman. Anyway, Will Ferrell from Anchorman. Here it says Camp Lejeune bottled water passes Bud Light in monthly sales. Very funny, very funny, very funny. Quite true. And then this last one, kind of a play on words, but it's hilarious. So the first one, you've got Madagascar. Then you've got what looks like the same nation with a smile. That's Gladagaskar. And then you've got, once again, looks like the same nation there with a frown that says Sadagaskar. And then you've got Tesla, and it says Notagaskar. And then finally, rounding out to the group, you've got Greta Thunberg. Greta Thunberg. That's Greta Thunberg with her little angry face. And that's Madagascar. Not funny? No laughs? Okay. Well, I found it hilarious, so I guess that's all that really matters. All right. We're up against it, so let's go ahead and give that quick shout out to our sponsors. First of all, if you're looking for rifle or pistol caliber barrels, go to hitmanindustries.net. If you are looking to help elect conservatives in the state of California, check out the California Republican Assembly. Become a part of California's future today. Hog holsters. If you're looking for inside the waistband, outside the waistband, tactical or concealed carry holster, go to hogholsters.com. Use discount code RUNDOWN, the RUNDOWN, all caps, no spaces. And then finally, outdoor gear, tactical gear, all sorts of fun gear, camping gear, whatever you're looking for. You will find it at uscombatgear.com. And with that, we are done for the day. We very much appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encourage your friends to do the same. We're going to be out of here. We'll be back tomorrow on Taco Tuesday. See you then.